you very much and welcome back. Well, I'm sure you'll be surprised that where Stone gone to? We have a guest, so we have to just switch it over a bit. And well, we'll have a discussion today. Now we're going to be focusing on a state that has one of the biggest economic potential in this country, and that is Ogun State. And my guest today is Mr. Jide Ologun. He's a lawyer, a PR and HR practitioner, is a fellow Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy, and is also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, National Development Advocate, and Chief Superintendent of Police. So he's a man of many, many ranks. Mr. Jide Ologun, good to have you join us on the show today.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Okay. I first off is this the closest I've been to you, but I've seen you engage in national discourse on different platforms, and I must say that it's a very rare privilege that we have you join us on the show today. So once again, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. As conversation around development and governance continues across Nigeria, Ogun State has increasingly positioned itself as a major economic and industrial hub, driven by infrastructure expansion, strategic location, and growing internally generated revenue. From road construction and industrial growth to urban renewal and investment opportunities, the state has continued to attract attention for both its developmental strides and evolving political landscape ahead of the 2027 election. This morning, we'll examine the intersection between politics, infrastructural development, and IGR in Ogun State, and what it all means for governance, economic growth, and the everyday lives of people in that state. So politics, infrastructure, and drive for economic growth. We'll also allow you to join the conversation at some point on the show, but let's talk with our guest. It's a whole lot, but before we even focus deeply on the Ogun State, issues, let's look at politics generally. We're building up for the 2027 election. There's a lot of tension in the air. It looks like the primaries are looking more competitive than the election itself. The leadership crisis within the opposition party, the APC is also trying to keep things together. As a Nigerian, are you looking forward to the 2027 election?
Absolutely. And we call it politics. And it's not new in any way. Recently I was discussing the scale of defections that we have in the country right now. And some may see it as something, that is just coming into the political arena. But that's not correct. As far back as 1951, between 1951 and 1960, when Zeke was contesting with Chief Obafemi Awolowo to become the premier of the Western region, you found 20 members of the National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon, NCNC, defecting at a very crucial moment to Action Group of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and Awolowo won. In the Second Republic also, you realize that Chief M.K. Abiola moved from UPN to NPN. In Ondo State, Chief Akemo Boriowo moved from UPN to NPN. In fact, he was. I think he even proceeded to declare himself as the winner of the governorship election against Ajashi, which led to the serious carnage in Ondo State then. So it's nothing new. And in 2013, when APC was formed, you found some new PDP coming up, splinter of ABGA, CPC, ACN coming together to form APC. And even when PDP was in power, majority of the governors in Nigeria were in PDP. So for politicians, they gravitate towards oxygen. And oxygen for a politician is, how can I advance my political career? For them, it's a career. So it's all about the power game. And what is happening now is that it has become more dynamic. It has become more prominent, maybe because of the benefits in that space. So you find them, so you can find a politician now moving across six parties in 2 years.
2 years.
Exactly. And opposition, they all want to rescue Nigeria. What I say is that politicking is just a vehicle to set up a government structure that is expected by virtue of Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended to secure the land and provide good welfare, because it says that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of
Of
government.
government. Mm.
And I think that is an assignment that all of us as citizens should begin to push to leaders, because sometimes they seem to forget the primary purpose of being in office. So they are carried away by the luxury of office and the authority and power
That the
that they
office comes.
exercise. And that is why you find citizens complaining about hardship and things like that, So by and large, there is little we can do about what is going on in the political space right now. And interestingly, we have, as at now, about 21 registered parties in
Political
the country.
parties. Mm.
But you just find some of them being prominent. And look at ADC that had strong muscles about a month ago. Right now,
Look at where they are. Nobody's even
it's
talking
been,
about them again.
and it's now NDC.
Mm.
Even within the APC that has about 31
Governors.
governors and simple majority in the National Assembly, the situation is not so calm. You still have the pressure because, and I saw it coming, all those governors that defected
Into
to
the
APC,
APC.
they have their platforms, they have their interests, and they are not going to throw away their political interests at the door of APC. They brought all this in.
Into the
So
party.
you find that a stronger pressure will come in. And that is why in Kano State, for instance, Gawuna has moved from APC.
To
Those are
the
those who
APC.
have, so all those things are there. But politicians know how to handle those pressures.
Okay, we're still going to streamline this conversation to Ogun politics, but let's talk about infrastructural development in Ogun State. I made a trip to Ondo a couple of weeks back, and when I was coming, I was just very particular about the industrial revolution going on in Ogun State. You look like some of the hubs, the industrial hubs. There's hardly any production or manufacturing company in Nigeria that does not have their sites or their factory in Ogun State, whether in the Aton or Ta-Axis or this Shagamu or this Lagos Ibadan Expressway. You look at religious organizations also, the big, churches, Islamic groups also have their campsite on this axis. You look at, residential estates that are also evolving. You look at trailer parks. You look at so many things. And so there's a reason they call Ogun State the gateway states. And the commissioning of the Gateway International Airport seems to have changed the perception of people towards that state. But before we even go into all of these indices, how do you rate Ogun State at the moment, side by side, the internally generated revenues coming from the states, the federal allocation coming into the state as well from the federation account every month, especially, let's say, even since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over right now, because the removal of subsidy means that governors are getting huge amount of monies right now. How would you rate the development in Ogun State with that level of commitment financially?
Thank you very much. Let me also adopt your observations about Ogun State. Ogun State is enjoying a huge privilege. In fact, in addition, some industries left Lagos State to Ogun State. Ogun State has the landmass advantage over Lagos, and perhaps the economic environment may not be as tough, let me use that expression,
As Lagos
tough,
is.
as it is in Lagos, understandably. And in terms of the internally generated revenue, Governor Dapo Abiodun has done so well in raising the internally generated revenue of the state, profile of the state. And in terms of more revenue coming from the fuel subsidy removal windfall, yes, there is more money available to the state. And when you talk about encouraging industrialization, I think Ogun State, captured about 70% of the total foreign direct investment that flowed into Nigeria. Yes, and that's why you have some of those
70%.
industries. Yes, and,
That's
and those
huge.
in some of them are even coming together to create energy power stations to run their business. So we can say that the Ogun State environment is enabling. And again, some of the serious issues that were disturbing businesses around Agbara, Lusada, Ota,
Aton.
that road has been linked with the Lagos Badagry Expressway, and some new locations opened up. And of course, the joker, the prime capping of it all is that international airport, to drive agro economy. And I am particularly happy that that project is not an abandoned project, and it has opened the gateway to the world. And we pray that the opportunities will be maximized. It will create job opportunities. It will facilitate the exportation of agro products from that region. And by and large, more industries are still flowing into Ogun State. And you also mentioned the case of religious organizations. Perhaps that is why the grace of God is upon Ogun State.
Ah, I get it. I knew there was going to be that linkage
Because
eventually.
they've opened up the space to the grace of God. And then we'll be discussing later, because it's also good to talk about that, the impact of all this on the citizens, because with all the great things going on in the area of healthcare, in the area of education, the Share projects, infrastructure, and all those ones, youth empowerment, and all those ones, and housing projects, it may not still be perceived as many as going around. Because when you talk about development, you talk about the elite aspect of development, and you talk about the one that covers generality of the citizens. And I think in those areas also, there will be expression of concern. And let me say this: I was in Ajuwon area years ago, and I swore not to drive to that
The axis
environment
again.
for now. And recently, I was compelled to visit that place. In fact, I had to go back to drive on that road, that Ajuwon road. Highly
It's a
commendable.
pleasure now.
But again, and that is the joy of leadership and the complexity of management. I was talking to someone that, oh, see what Governor Dapo Abiodun has done to that road, beautiful road. I even did a video, sent it abroad. Hey, this, I'm driving on that Ajuwon road. And he was saying, he
Making
has brought problem. I said, which problem? That the prices of rent has gone up.
yes, it has. It will.
And that's what development does. That's what development does. And if you ask the Arepo people, they will be eternally grateful to Governor Dapo Abiodun, Prince Dapo Abiodun, because the entire stretch of that road was reconstructed, paved, logged, dual carriageway with solar lights and things like that. So some interventions around like that. And just yesterday, I was in Ibafor, and I think that has to do with the impact of government. There's this road, Temidire Road, that is currently being tarred, and I understand the incoming Senator
Olamilekan Yayi.
Olamilekan Adeola, Yayi, is the one working on that. So if we have that continuity, who also has been doing so well in his senatorial constituency, and I think if we keep up with that pace, the development we go around. Because seriously speaking, when you profile the development in Nigeria, it's still far away from where it should have been over 65 years of political independence. But the government is doing her best for now. So Ogun State is fortunate, And we also have the marine
Ecosystem.
free trade zone, and I also read somewhere that it's like oil has been discovered in Ogun State. So Ogun State has a very brilliant potential. Talking about the future.
Okay, Brian Salogun, talking about the future, you made reference to this development having direct impact on the people at the elite level, for the investors, for the business people. It could be the best times of their lives. There are potentials for good return on investment if you put in your money in the Ogun states. The government is also doing his best to market the states. I see him at different platforms, wearing their duress, always talking about come to Ogun, come invest in Ogun and all of that. But if there's that major disconnect between the government and the governed, and the people are not feeling the impact, yes, we can sit and talk about the good roads, the Ajuwon, talk about some, but how do we pull these things closer to the people so that I'm not thinking the government is good enough because I'm the tiniest of the privileged people that are getting something from the government, maybe in terms of contract, or I stay in a residential area where there are plenty politicians, so the road is good, electricity is good, security is good, and I assume that the government is doing enough. But for someone in Ogbayo, in Ijoko, someone in Songuota, someone in some of the funny areas, someone in Magboro, in
Makogi,
Makogi, exactly.
Banku.
A lot of people may not think that the governor is doing enough.
Yeah.
How do we, where should the meeting point be between this system where everybody would have at least a feel of what governance is about?
Thank you very much. Interestingly, Prince Dakbo Abiodun is preparing to leave office, and a new governor will come. You see, on that, I want to advise both sides. The government should set up a task force under the public relations platform to go around and identify the needs of the people. It's important because I can let you know that at their level, we call it helicopter view in leadership, where you are in the aircraft and you can see everything as if everything is
It's
beautiful
good.
until you get in touch with the reality. And the people at the grassroots level also should engage their CDAs, whatever platform they have at the grassroots, to connect with the council. It's not just the governors that are enjoying the windfall of the
The
subsidy,
local
fuel subsidy
government
removal.
chairman are feeling
Exactly.
facts.
Now they have direct allocation, whether it's been implemented or not. I had to challenge a particular local government in Lagos, their leadership, when they were campaigning for the election, and I saw the road
That they are applying
beside, not even the road beside the local government
secretariat.
secretariat. I challenged them. Look at this. Does this look like governor? And they say, yeah, the chairman is working on it. These are things that people will enjoy. Nigerians are not saying, come and put me on your back, come and put me on your shoulder. They want to enjoy basic things. And if that is done, connect them. I was in the Maryland in the US, and my younger one, I said, oh, let's go around. And he took me to a place called Elcon Village. And I asked him, do you people understand English? Is this a village? Beautiful, big lake. I walked around. You see people enjoying themselves from one locality to the other, creating nice environment. So look at those. For instance, I just mentioned Banku. Banku is a community behind Warewa with big buildings. People have gone in there struggling to develop. What stops the government from saying, let's start the roads in there, let's do what we can do, let's open up the opportunities here? I've been to Papa Sheshe after Tevidire in Ibafo. There's a place called, when you drive through um, from from Wariwa, you get to Arepo,
Aripo,
Magoro,
Maguro,
then you get to Ibafo,
Ibafo.
Asheshe. At the back of Asheshe also, you can connect Pakuro. From Pakuro, you should be able to link Ofada. Even the Mowe road that leads to Ofada, one of the lanes is okay,
The
the
other
other
one
one
is
has
bad.
exactly. So the governor needs to keep in touch with the people, and the people from away are always phoning in to some of the programs we have on radio. Electricity, electricity. What are you going to do? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the Electricity Act in 2023.
And allow state to
What are states
generate.
doing? I understand Lagos State is trying to maximize it now by empowering some companies to, so that people can enjoy living in your community. And I think it's important. But Ogun State has huge potentials. And with the level of industrial activities going on there, in public relations, we talk about social investment, can bring them together to support. Look at what happened in Lagos State. Dangote, for tax concession, reconstructed the Apapa Oworo road with concrete. So those are the things we are talking about. Focus on how to enhance the lifestyle of people living within your state and scale down the cost of living. If the roads are good, the travel time will
Be
reduce,
reduced.
like it has happened around the Agbara. Then people will enjoy that. You see, the last time also, in fact, I have some businesses to do in Songwater, but I've been afraid to move on that road. I know part of it has been done, but you see that toll gate end is
It's chaotic.
is traumatic and driving beyond them. All those things, look at them, fix them. And I say to politicians, by the time you do the needful in terms of delivering governance to the people, your stress will reduce in terms of
Campaign.
campaigning, all those billboards, fighting each other, because it should be performance driven. So we are prepared to support the government in rolling out some of these innovative ideas. But like I said, I've monitored the performance of the candidate for the consensus candidate for APC, Senator Olamilekan Adeola, and even from what he has done and what I've seen, I think we expect that if, by the special grace of God, he comes out victorious, he should be able to drive the state forward.
How important is that transition? I mean, if you look at the political profile of Senator Olamilekan, then you know that it's not a neophyte in this conversation. From the House of Assembly, Alimosho in Lagos, Reps Alimosho in Lagos, Senate for Lagos Central, twice 8 years. Now he's representing Ogun Central as well. Sorry, Lagos West, now Ogun West. How key? I understand that there's going to be an election. Different political parties would also field candidates. Everybody wants to get to the Okemos on government house. But if peradventure the APC gets this one, a lot of people have been talking about what Senator Yayi is already doing in the senatorial district. You also made reference to the road he's doing as well. How key is that transition of government in the sense that if they say government is a continuum, whatever it is that Akpabio is leaving undone or will are not completed, how key is that transition getting it right?
On the scale of governance and leadership, for instance, in the United States of America, there is the expectation of governance. You cannot go below it. And it must continue. So it's a situation where the institutions control those who come into the system. And I think that's what we need in Nigeria. Not a situation where someone comes and begins
Over again.
to overrun some of the projects and things like that. No. And that's why I am advising, let's focus on leadership, on developing Nigeria. So what can Senator Yayi do if he becomes a governor? It's part of what we have said. You need to relate with the people, identify their needs. Then the basic amenities are spelled out. You talk about security of the citizens, you talk about welfare. Under welfare, education is important. Healthcare is important. The means of livelihood to work. Then you talk of shelter. And if you look at section 16, subsection 2D of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it states it clearly what welfareism is all about. It talks about available and affordable housing, available and affordable food, reasonable living minimum wage, benefits for unemployment, for care of the old, of the sick, of the disabled, for all citizens, pensions. It's there. It's just that you cannot sue the government. In fact, under that section 16, it says that the government must provide maximum happiness and maximum welfare to citizens. It's there. You see, so that should be your guide. So what can we now do? What do they need in this community? Keep them, do their roads very well. And right now, even Aso Villa has moved off the grid. So if our grid has become so demonized,
That even the people that promise us electricity have abandoned
exactly, then you also, what can you do? I read at the time that the governors of the northern state decided that they will set up solar power stations across. Have they done it?
No.
What will make your people happy? What will bring down, for instance, if there is no electricity and the family has to depend on generator. A liter of fuel now is about $1 in Nigeria, about 1,355. And so every time that generator is working, the mental trauma the father of the house
It's going through.
is having, every noise that generator is making is resonating in his brain.
Because that money could have been used
And
for
that is why you'll
something
be
else.
shouting on everybody. You see, you now talk about the transport fare. A man came to work for us in Ikeja from Songo, and he told me, sir, I will come back tomorrow. And I said, why are you not starting this work today? And I asked him, okay, how much is your transport? 6,000. I told him, this
Every
cannot
day.
work. Go and tell your wife you have a work in Ikeja. You will stay in Ikeja until you finish it. Because 6,000 naira to and fro on transport alone times 20 days. Let's start from there. And minimum wage is 70,000. So how do you? So the
That's
government should
120,000.
sit down. Right now, what we are dealing with in human resource management is the mental health of employees or even employers. You see, because of the various challenges that we have. Look at it. You know, when we were growing up, by the grace of God, I'll be 60 years in July. You know, in our community where you could walk to the health center, you know, primary maternity. I remember how we used to run away from injection. And somebody wants to deliver, pregnant woman, you just carry her to maternity, deliver, thank God, and come back home. Our primary school, you stroll there, walking distance, you know, even secondary school. But today, so those things were available. You know, look at when our fathers walked. They could, you know, retire, enjoy their constant pensions and things like that. Those are the basic needs. And let me say this, wealth is good, but wealth driven by greed is evil. I was going to New York City from Abu Dhabi at a time in a flight, and I was watching this documentary of the founding father of modern UAE, Sheikh Zayed. And he said that wealth is not money, but developing people. And that is what they did in that environment. They developed their citizens. And that is why that region is an autopilot of prosperity right now. So we want to see leadership doing that. What do you need here? What do you need here? What do you need? And I've been to many parts of this country, so we can help them in identifying what those needs are and stuff like that. And some that the government has done, we are commending them. You know, like ask anybody living in Arepo, nice interventions there because the community started with self-help. At the time, the government just came
Took it
and
over.
did that. So if you can have those interventions, and I have advised, you can pick the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road and say every community on this road between Ojodubaga and Shagamu interchange, we tar the roads that are not yet tarred to even if it's 2 kilometers or whatever. Then people will come. You enhance the fortune of that community. And that's it. And again, now, before Governor Dapo Abiodun leaves office, I want to commend the Commissioner of Environment in Ogun State. And that's one thing I like about Ogun State. They are responsive. You know, there was a time I complained about the open defecation. And Lagos State also, they cooperated to ward off those who were excreting on the express road. Now I have noticed, and now is when we can do it. Between Sparklight Estate and Kara, you see the middle of the road is messed up. My honorable governor, sir, your excellency, all you need to do is simple. Tell the businesses on both sides of the road, give them the mandate to clear that place. Yes, there's a modern toilet now by the Baga side. Yes,
New
let them,
garage.
they have to cooperate. Clear it, then set up a task force in their midst. And they will use it to generate revenue. You cross that road to go and excrete, you pay 3,000 naira. So you ask yourself which is more expensive, to go inside the bush and excrete or come to the express. Because imagine somebody recording a video there and sending it that this is Nigeria. And again, when you are driving into Lagos right now, by Jodubaga, you see this is Lagos.
Lagos.
Nobody welcomes you to Lagos. Nobody. In almost all the states in Nigeria, you see welcome to Lagos. Nobody welcomes you to Lagos. They
This is
just say this
Lagos.
is Lagos. You're
Use
on
your
your own.
sense. And I mean, I know what you're saying. If you look at how clean from that point of welcome to Lagos
Yes.
into Lagos is,
Oh,
it's just about 20 meters. Just this way, this way. So
yes.
I'm always asking, like, is it that your brain does not function enough to see that on this other side, there's no open defecation going on there because there's always a Kai truck parked under the bridge. And I even heard that in the night, there are still people guiding that part of Lagos.
Exactly.
But the moment you cross into this, after that, this is Lagos, is an absolute mess.
I can explain that. And you see, before even achieving that, I had to engage the commissioner, I had to speak to the state and things like that. And I warned then that cholera was coming because by the time rain comes, rain is no respecter of, it will wash all those feces
From
into
this
that
is
Ogun
Lagos to
river,
Ogun.
and that river flows everywhere. And that cholera came. So the government rose. The challenge for Ogun State is that the importance of that location is yet to be appreciated. So maybe Abeokuta is so far away. But in terms of branding, I have an architectural design. I've had it for about 7 years now. I commissioned someone to design it of that location. Any governor that does it, it becomes a signature, global signature, like what you find in the US or in Canada. Beautiful. And that's why I'm suggesting you don't need to come from Abeokuta. Set up a task force in that environment. Go to the Seriki of those who are selling cows there. Come, God next to God. Government is the next power base. You see, then again, why I'm saying that, it's as if that axis is not on the front burner of
the
Ogun State
government.
government. If you look at the OPIC event center there, it's run down. It should not be. It should be a monument speaking for Ogun State. Just like the one you have on Mobolaji Bankantoni Way, speaking for Ogun State. Some of us are into branding, so we know the importance of all this, because for anyone who does not have the privilege of driving to Abeokuta and just sees OPIC structure,
Just there.
and the way it is, we'll ask the question you're asking, that who are these people? So those are interventions, and it won't cost much. For instance, that OPIC event center, you can even look around for those who will come into PSP, private partnership with the government. Look at the National Art Theater. Bankers came together.
And they renovated
CBN,
it.
exactly. And you brand it. So those are things that we can assist. I still have that architectural design, and I hope that someday. So please, right now, for the sake of health, for the sake of aesthetics, we want attention on that expressway. Thank God, again, after we complained and everything, we have solar lights on the long bridge. There was a time a woman was robbed on that long bridge. We had to stop to rescue her, and then we thank God that happened. That was when I went back on radio and they started sending policemen to that road. Those are what people need, because a lot of people have been killed on that bridge.
Well, very interesting. I'm sure that the people in charge of governance development in Ogun State are watching us right now. You're live on MITV Plus Breakfast Express, and my guest today has been Barrister Jide Ologun. He's a lawyer, PR, HR practitioner. He's also a fellow of Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy, and also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. I've seen the emblem of the NIPR right there on his jacket. Of course, as a student of public relations that I majored in university, and I understand how privileged it is to find yourself in that space. But let's wrap it up. Ogun State conversation is getting very interesting. I think politics of Ogun State can no longer be ignored by anybody right now. There are a lot of gladiators, a lot of stakeholders, a lot of people with huge political value, and they want to impose themselves. What do you think of the political climate on Ogun State at the moment? And are you looking forward to the face-off between Governor Dapo Abiodun and the Senator Benga Daniels, for especially the Ogun East senatorial seats. Let's wrap up from there.
Yeah, the APC will resolve that. You know, right now APC has also identified the pressure within the party, and that's why they are doing screening. At a time, APC was going to fully embark on
On
consensus,
consensus.
but made a U-turn that no, let's still go for primaries. But I think in the area of governorship candidates in Ogun, the
I think it's
consensus
sorted.
is settled. I think in Lagos also consensus. But let them all go out for screening. You see, let me warn us, they are all friends. It's all about
So don't
power.
get caught.
Yes.
Don't get caught in
Don't
that
get
drama.
caught in that firework. Exactly. You know, look at Obi from is it from Abga to
I've got to
PDP,
PDP, to
PDP
Labour,
to
to
Labour,
ADC,
Labour to
now
ADC, now in
NDC.
NDC. Even Atiku in PDP was the Baba Oko of the son of Buhari in APC. You see, Atiku has been in APC, he's been to, even Kwankwanso has been round. So they are all friends, you know. And I just want to suggest, I've suggested it, how we can solve the desperation in the political space in Nigeria. And I say this respectfully, nobody should get angry at jide ologun. Maybe if we make a law that a senator will earn the same salary with a university lecturer and enjoy the same benefits with a university lecturer, then they will have to come and beg you to go to Senate.
You would rather want to even be a
Yes, they will
university.
leave Senate alone and you'll be looking for people to come and go to Senate. So I think the attraction in that space, in terms of power, in terms of wealth, is enormous. I mean, it's food for thought. And that is why in the UK, a prime minister will resign because there's no big deal. No,
Go
you know,
back to riding
nothing
his
makes
bicycle
you
and
special to yeah. In some countries, prime minister will ride on bicycle. You know,
but here,
yeah.
a councillor in
I
Nigeria has
was
convoy.
discussing the Norway. You know, this morning we are talking about the total indebtedness of Nigeria, which is about 150 something trillion now. Norway has the biggest sovereign wealth in the world, $2.2 trillion US dollars, and the population is just about 5.6 million. They've used their oil money to invest in blue chip stocks across the globe, so they have wealth stored up for the future. You know, so and rather than when some of us just enjoy the wealth, eh?
Some of our people are not even interested in the future. They just want to live for the now. I thank you very much, Barrister Jide Ologun, for being my
You're
guest on the show.
welcome.
It's
It's my
always a pleasure
pleasure.
to, like I said, this is the first time I'm having a session with you. But I've seen you at different, media, getting involved on issues that has to do with nation building. Thank you very much once again. This is the point where we draw the curtain on the show. But don't forget to always keep the engagement going on our social media platforms. On MITV, on Facebook, it's at MITV Plus. On Instagram, it's at MITV Plus _NG. And also on TikTok and X, the same handle. And don't forget that we stream our programs live on YouTube at MITV Plus _NG. And don't also forget to click the like button and subscribe. Oh, we have a call. Unfortunately, we can't even pick the call. The line went off. Thank you very much once again, Vice
My
Ajide
pleasure.
Ologun, for being a guest on the show today. This program, God willing, returns tomorrow, same time. And of course, it's MITV Plus. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Okpeyemi Ankene. Don't forget that the responsibility of building this country does not just lie on the leaders. Even you as a follower, you have a major role to play. Have a beautiful Wednesday for yourself. Join us again tomorrow, and bye for now.